position. Yes, there we go.
We are live.
Yes.
We are live, and we almost weren't. Welcome back. It's Friday. It's the last episode of the week.
Yep.
My name is No.10 Evans.
And I'm Nana Evans.
You're watching For Evan's Sake Daily, where we bring you the news from a parenting perspective. Today on the show, we are going to be talking about sex at number 10, at those infamous COVID parties. The boy from Blue, he likes a little bit of brown. Sunak versus Sturgeon. There's been a cancer scare for Grenfell firefighters. And of course, we have our parenting conundrums.
Mm-hmm.
Nana. So,
Yes.
There have been allegations that some staff of Boris Johnson's had sexual encounters at a party in Downing Street on the eve of Prince Philip's funeral. So we knew about the COVID parties.
Yes, we've had partygate already.
We've had all of that. But there's been new information now that at these parties, there was a lot of frolicking going on.
New allegations. So it seems like when they were being investigated by the police, somebody was holding back and a whistleblower has come forward and is now spilling all the tea.
The tea being, two couples were seen getting intimate by several witnesses at a party, which continued past 4 a.m.
Wow.
One of the couples was seen going into an office, with the lights off, and another couple was seen feeling each other up in a number 10 kitchen before retreating into an office room.
All while we were supposed to be on restrictions.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, on any other year, that's a regular office party. Okay. But we were all locked up in our yards.
Not allowed to socialise.
Not allowed to socialise. Not allowed to see our grandparents. Not allowed to see our parents.
Not allowed to go into hospitals to visit people.
And this is what they were doing. Matt Hancock was grabbing bum somewhere.
Exactly.
And they were getting it on.
Well, absolutely going nuts in number 10. It's basically how it was.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words on the state of this government. Like, I don't know why and I've said it before, why are we not rioting?
Well, somebody needs to lose their job.
And I have no faith that anybody will.
But it needs to really come out who this was, what their office is, all of that. Like, it's not okay to just be, just whistleblowing and not actually, we don't know who these people are and what offices they hold.
Yeah. And the worst thing of it all is they don't care. Like, they think it's jokes and bants.
Yeah.
So even at the time, or recently rather, it's come out that Boris Johnson at the time at one of the parties was there joking around saying this is the most unsocially distanced party I've ever been to. Like, bro, are you mocking?
Well, yeah. And he's been on, he's talking about it now as well. Yeah. So it is a bit mad.
Yeah,
everybody seems to just be like, okay, we've got our fines. The criminal investigation has been closed. So now we can come out and say what was going on.
Yeah,
who knows?
I'm done with these people, man.
Yes, let's see.
I'm done with these people. Anyway, so that's there. And we will see what happens and where this goes, and if anybody will actually be held accountable. I mean, obviously, there's some have been fined.
Yeah. But nobody's losing their job, so let's see where it goes.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what's going to make me happy. Like, I'm not sure what type of punishment I'm going to go, that's...
You just want them to clean up their act, yeah, I get it.
I just want them to clear off. Just want him to clear off. Okay. Also in the news, Lee Ryan, do you remember him?
Yes, from Blue.
From Blue, yes. So he recently was on a flight from Glasgow to London. And whilst he was at the airport in Glasgow...
Not the longest flight. I swear it's like a 2-hour flight.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay,
right. If that?
Yes, probably not even that.
Yes, I don't even think it's that. So anyway, he was in the executive lounge beforehand. Right. And obviously, he's
drinking away.
So by the time he gets onto the flight, he is quite inebriated. And once he's on the flight, he's still drinking. Don't know why they're still serving him. But anyway, he's still drinking. And one of the flight attendants catches his eye. Right. And so he starts, saying stuff towards her. However, this flight attendant, she happens to be a black woman.
Right.
And so he keeps saying stuff to her like, look at my little chocolate chip cookie. I think we're going to have chocolate babies. And also, can I just say that if you're going to say stuff like this, can we be a little bit more inventive and creative? Like this, we've heard all of these things before. Like it's yeah, it at least makes the story a little bit more interesting. So he's doing that all the way through the flight.
Mm-hmm.
By the time they land at London City Airport, he then also tries to like grab her up and ask her for a kiss,
right,
sort of thing. But by this time, the police are already waiting for him.
Okay, so it's already been reported.
Yeah,
we
it's
have
already
a
been
drunken, disorderly person.
Yeah. So he admitted to being drunk on the flight and assaulting a member of the cabin crew.
Right.
He was fined $4,500 and ordered to pay £1,000 compensation to the lady.
Right.
The best bit for me.
Why does the court get more than the lady who's the victim?
Imagine.
That's nuts.
Imagine. Okay. I didn't even clock that, you know.
All right.
And it's like, where does that go?
Yes, all of those fines, where does it go? But I do think that the victim should get more than the court.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the best bit for me was, you know, some people can't help it. So in the rundown, I think this is what he said this in court. And he's like, I'm not racist.
Yeah.
My bandmate is black.
I thought he was going to say my best friend, who happened to be my bandmate, but okay.
It's 2023. Can we not?
It's like people can't help themselves. It has to come out of their mouth. I mean, reading through it, I was surprised at the racially aggravated charge being there.
Why?
I just don't see the calling somebody chocolate. I don't file it under like a racially aggravated assault.
But that's what's motivated it. So he's not calling her chocolate because, well, he's only calling her chocolate because of the color of her skin. Same way that when you go Morocco and all them men are like, Beyonce.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same motivation.
But was that the motivation to touch her? Is it purely because she's black? That's the thing where I'm like, can you...
In the article, he did actually mention, you know, I've also been out with black and mixed race women. Yeah, he went there as well. So one could say maybe he has a little bit of a thing for black women. But even still, whether he does or he doesn't, you can still make it known that you find this woman attractive without making those references, which you're only making because of the color of her skin.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know.
And I will go on further to say that if it was Simon, for example, on the flight, who saw the woman and was saying the same things, and I know people ain't gonna like this, but it's not gonna carry the same weight because it's different. The dynamics are different, whether you like it or not. That's not necessarily how equality works. Or I know it goes against the way that a lot of people think equality should work, but the dynamics are different.
Okay. Yeah. So there's no time involved in this charge against him.
No, I can't. That would be a bit excessive. Come on, doing time for.
I don't know.
For words.
This story absolutely stumped me because I just didn't expect it from Lee, and then the charge as well. I was a bit like,
Why didn't you expect it?
I don't know. I just filed him under a different. Like he's had kind of drink and drug problems along the way, but I was a bit surprised at this. Yeah. I don't know. I used to be a Blue fan, so maybe this is why. I'm just a bit like, oh, Lee. So I don't want to give him excuses. He's definitely assaulted a woman, and it's a black woman. So, you know, hopefully he learns from this.
Yeah. I'm sure part of his community service, he'll have to go to some place where there's lots of black people and show how he cares about black people.
Well, he should, I always think if you are caught out in your prejudices and your racism, to atone for this, you should really be a support to some type of women's shelters. Like, put your money where your mouth is. Like, really get involved and start supporting something. That to me is the only way that I will be able to, and the community will be able to see that you have atoned for your sins.
To me, it's just empty gestures. You know, because a lot of
it's not empty because it costs you.
It costs you, but
saying sorry is empty.
It costs you, but if you have money, that's not a problem.
He doesn't have loads though. Blue isn't flossing.
I know that $4,500 it's not going to trouble.
That's what I'm saying. That is an empty gesture. That is not enough, and that goes to the courts. The victim only got 1,000. Put your money where your mouth is. Like, actually be a support system now. Be an absolute ally. Then I'm going to think, yeah, you've learned something. It's not okay. These things happen and people just kind of leave and get on with their lives. do something about it. Like show that you've learned and you've atoned for what you've done.
I feel like it's a bit much, but
no, I'm up for that.
I think you're stretching it out. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, pay your fine, move on.
No, but, pay more than that.
Yeah. Anyway, so moving on. Rishi Sunak, our illustrious Prime Minister.
This is an interesting one, actually.
Has travelled to Scotland and had a meeting with Nicola Sturgeon.
Don't you think this is interesting, though? It's the first time he's going to Scotland to meet Nicola Sturgeon since he became Prime Minister. And he's in his 12th week. I think, should the Prime Minister not go everywhere very quickly and meet everybody?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so.
I think
you do it when it calls
You're
for
effectively governing the country together. That just seems really slow to me.
No, because they would have spoken.
Okay.
They would have spoken.
Yeah, I saw that.
And this doesn't necessarily mean that this is the first time they're meeting. They may
No, of course. Yeah. Well, in his roles before. But I mean, as you've
even as Prime Minister. So she could have been in London at some point and they could have met.
Okay. So it's not the first. So, okay.
So we don't know that. We just know that he's gone to Scotland, but we don't know that this is actually the first time that they've met.
I read it as it's like the first time they are meeting since he was.
Maybe so. But anyway, so he went and he expressed concern about the impact of Scotland's new gender reforms on other areas of the UK. So Scotland is the first country in the UK to approve a self-identification system for people who want to change their gender. And I'm just going to quickly go over what that is. So the reform lowers the age that people can apply for a gender recognition certificate. It's currently at 18 and they want to lower it to 16. It removes the need for a medical diagnosis of gender dysphoria, with applicants only needing to have lived as their acquired gender for 3 months rather than 2 years, or 6 months if they are age 16 or 17. I am with Rishi.
I am actually.
Here's the thing. Whether or not you agree with gender reassignment or not is actually not even the argument. What we can agree is that it's not a small thing to change your gender. It's not a small thing. So if you are young, 10, 14 or whatever, and you're like, I am in the wrong body, then I think it's incumbent on society, caregivers, parents, whoever, to ensure that, number one, that child is able to navigate through the coming years with the most amount of support as possible. And so that they get to the point where they are old enough to do...
just be an adult.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like... it's too hard to get that. You would need to be an adult. There needs to be some type of professional guidance in there in terms of therapy. And once you're 18, you would have made that decision. And then you can go forth from there. Your brain is changing. Your hormones are changing. I don't think we should make this a simple thing, because there is a percentage of people who are older and they go through with it and they regret it and then they want to go back again. So we shouldn't be like rushing this anyway. And from speaking to a gender therapist who is really against what Scotland are doing as well, I think all of the arguments that she's put forward, and it's out there, you can research both sides to it. Talking therapy works. Just speaking to somebody and waiting until you're mature enough to make the decision. I think that's just common sense. To me, this is this is a weird one to change it and make it younger. There's things that you make younger, but this one, I just think who was asking for this as well, and how many people, and how long has this demand been being made for?
I can imagine there's probably demand for it, but I just... I feel like this is probably something that you don't necessarily need to buckle to. And I think the other thing that we have to be wary of is how this affects kind of women-only spaces, because we're getting lots of... Because if I don't need to jump any crazy hurdles, so let's take me as a grown man, if I don't need to jump any crazy hurdles, and then I can be like, in 3 months, I'm officially a woman. Okay. So then I can go in with my bits. I can go into any type of space. But I'm a woman. I imagine that that's going to make women who were born women really uncomfortable.
And there has to be some type of dialogue. I think this is the thing. Any types of changes that come along with status and how we're going to move and get along with each other, there needs to be some understanding so we can all move in sync. And at this moment in time, we don't seem to all be on the same page as to what's happening with how gender works, how you call people, how you categorize it. So let's just keep the conversation going. We're getting there. It's getting better in society. But I think let's not rush things too much. People are already going into like real prejudice spaces because they're just feeling their voice isn't being heard. I think we need more dialogue around this.
I think that's a really valid point, because I think that's kind of where we've got to, in not just on this topic, on a lot of topics, where because one set of people haven't been heard historically, and so now the focus is on them. What we're also not mindful of is we're taking away a lot of the focus from other people.
Yeah.
And I get the idea of like, you want to readdress the balance, but actually I think if we're going to get a society where people all feel welcome and equally valued, then it needs to be readdressed.
Yeah. We need to talk more. We need more education on all points. And I do think, this is the channels are there, and it's good that Rishi's even, saying we want to get more data from psychologists. We want to see how this would affect the country. I think that's a good start. So let's see. Let's have more talking around this.
Hopefully. So Grenfell, there's been a new study that's come out, and they have found that a lot of the firefighters who were there on that night trying to save all of those people are now succumbing to various different types of cancer.
Yeah.
And I feel like this story is just indicative of how the Grenfell story will never and should never go away, but also it also highlights how they are still trying to brush this under the carpet.
Well, basically, it shows from what the residents were saying, the building had not been made properly. The materials that went into building that tower block were substandard. The people were affected by it and complaining. And now you have the firefighters getting various aggressive forms of cancer. And there's a correlation between the two. You took away cladding from so many different tower blocks. Nothing has gone on top of them. There's loads of places where it's just, you're seeing the bareness of it. We really have to look into the building industries and see what has been going into building tower blocks, social housing. There's so many blocks that have gone up all around this country, and they probably are full of cancerous materials and highly flammable as well. Nobody even went to prison. Marginally lost their job through Grenfell.
Did the company get fined?
The company got fined. People lost their jobs. Nobody went to prison.
Amazing.
That's 77 people that lost their lives. And then if you go into the firefighters that have also lost their lives as well, it's probably higher. Or that are suffering. All of the people involved in this suffering, and nobody has been held accountable for it, is disgusting.
I think one of the things that comes to my mind is you can really tell who's in control, because it's not the people in power. It's certainly not us, because only an organization with deep enough pockets would be able to get away with something.
Definitely.
And even going back to the other day when we was talking about King Charles not being able to, telling Harry that he couldn't do anything against.
Oh yeah, about the media. Yeah.
And it's like the people who we think have the power don't necessarily have the power.
Yeah.
And I think there's other people who actually really do have the power. And if you look carefully and see the outcomes of certain situations, you'll be able to identify who actually has the power.
Yes, definitely. It's a huge tragedy with Grenfell though. And it's really a shame that people that went to help are now suffering. But that's definitely built. That's the building industry. That is chemicals that have gone into building materials. And you just got to think there was people that was living there, breathing these things in, having fire issues, you know, sparks going off. Lots of different things were taking place in that block, and it's all documented for years. People were complaining and saying this, there's a fire hazard here. Something's wrong with all of our electrics. It comes into fruition, and still nobody goes to prison over that.
It's insane.
Still.
But then you or I, the regular person, can go to prison for less.
Yeah.
Absolutely, within a heartbeat.
It's crazy. But yeah, so, you know, I just wish them all well, and I hope somehow there are some, you know, we're always hoping for developments with cancer treatment. But this is truly, truly sad.
Yeah.
Really sad.
Yeah. Okay.
What's our last one?
Well, no, we're moving on to the conundrums.
Okay.
Conundrums. Parenting conundrums. What have you got for us today, Nana?
Okay. All right. This is an interesting one. Again, found it on the Reddit stories. It's a bit different, but I wanted to get your take on this. So this came in from a father, and he's asking again, am I the rotten person in this scenario? Him and his ex-wife, they have a 9-year-old son. The son has had a surgery on his hip, and it's happening in winter. So the son naturally in winter stays with the father, and in the summer is with the mother.
Okay.
So this is the time. So it's like it would be on his time that he has the son.
Sure.
Gone into hospital, had the surgery. The day before, the mother asks, can I actually have the son for a couple of weeks during his recovery? Can he come to my house? Father says, no, it's my time. Son's coming with me. She says, okay, I understand that. Can I come and visit him during his recovery? He says, no, you're not allowed in my house. You don't come into my house. We have a video call system in place whenever our child is with other parent. I'm maintaining that. So he is staunch on this. The mother, since then, him and the mother have not had a very good relationship. Like there's some tension there.
Yeah.
So he's brought it to the forum. Was I in the wrong for doing this?
Yeah. He's petty. His petty has taken over. So I fully understand. I think it was a liberty on the mother to even ask, can he come and stay with me? Because it's
really?
Yeah. Because it's the idea that you're a better parent than the dad, or you don't trust the dad. And I just think,
I don't think it's that. I think it's a 9-year-old, first surgery, just as a mother wanting to be.
Which is why I can understand her being like, can I come round? Which is where now the dad is out of order.
So, but you're saying she was out of order for even asking, can I have him for the recovery?
Yeah, he's with his dad. Okay. He's with his dad. So there's no...
I don't think that is out of order to ask.
But you saying that is you're implying that he's going to be... the care is going to be better with her, with the mum. And we don't know that.
It's got nothing to do with better. That's a projection. She hasn't said he's going to be better off with me. It's, I would like to have my son with me after the surgery.
We would all like a lot of things, but
that's it.
That's
all she's asked for.
It's not your, and he said, no, it's not your time.
I think that is fair, but it's.
But I guarantee the motivating force of why she asks is because she feels that she would provide better care. You know, we're all projecting. We're all sitting here projecting. We don't know who they are.
I wouldn't say that was a factor.
But in terms of him denying her access to see the son, that's just bad behavior. You're clearly not putting your son's needs now first, because in all aspects of recovery, wouldn't he benefit from like a care package from mum, seeing mum, all of these things? Aren't they going to help?
Yeah. Extra love. It's like when you're in hospital, why they allow visitors.
There you go.
Because it makes you feel better.
Absolutely. So surely him being able to see his mum during this period is going to be beneficial. And I think as a dad, you should be able to see that. Like,
I know it's not the normal winter, that it's a different thing.
Yeah,
He's
she's not-
literally had surgery. Like,
yeah.
he's in recovery. He's just going to be in a bed, like, you know, just having hugs with his mother
Mhm.
from time to time. It doesn't have to be, I think it is like a 2-week recovery anyway. So if it was once a week, she's coming into your house twice. It's not that bad. At some point, you love this person because you got married to them.
Mm.
I think it's unreasonable to really be like, no.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's really cold.
And he's acting out of his petty as well, because he mentioned something about he knows that it wouldn't be okay the other way around. And it's like, okay, so at this point, you're just playing games.
Yeah.
Like, you're just playing games. Like, so you're doing tick for tack because you know that she would treat you a certain way. And it's clear that you don't have this boy's best interests at heart.
Or again, you're presuming that she would because it hasn't happened.
Yeah, well,
they may have a stipulation of not being able to go into each other's houses.
Well, then that's that.
But then outside of that, this is an extenuating circumstance.
And that's what he's not taking into account.
Like, it's, you know,
it's not an ordinary holiday. She doesn't want to just swing by, see how you're doing, making sure that her son is in a decent environment or anything like that. I get it. Yeah. But he is the
out of order
person. He is the out of order person. So yeah, I would agree with that.
I think so. I mean, the comments were saying very similar. It was actually a bit more like 60-40. There was way more fathers who really was like, absolutely understand why you did what you did. See, and I was a bit like, really?
But I know I can understand that, because, and I think if there's any single fathers watching this as well, they'd be like, yeah, because I think there's a battle anyway as dads to prove that you are just as capable as a mum in terms of looking after your child. And then I think that's intensified even more if you're split from the mum, and then even more if you don't get along with the mum on top of that. So like, there's a lot to prove. But the mist is clouding his judgment.
Because a visit to me doesn't seem.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
I would have thought the standard of proving would be like, it's my time, he's staying with me. I get that, but it just seemed to go a little bit further, and the fact that there were so many people that was like, I understand, even, you know, doubling down and enforcing that boundary of she can't come into your house. It's a bit like, wow, really?
Yeah.
When, you know, it's her son too is recovering from surgery.
But then also you have to think, what's the reason behind you being so visceral in that this woman cannot come into your house? Like, most sane people, to get to that point, and I'm assuming he's sane, all right? I'm assuming they're both sane, or maybe not.
I didn't see that update. I get what you're saying. He didn't come back to that. What other people were saying was, was this even put forward to your son in any way?
Yeah.
To see his mother.
Yeah.
And he was like, my son doesn't have a choice on like, we don't present these things to my child. He follows through what we set forward. And I was like, okay, I agree with that. I get that. But again, it just felt very, you know, steadfast. Like, I wanted more context to their relationship, because it just seemed very harsh. This is surgery, though. For the child as well, would be terrified as to what's going on. And it's, you know, he's 9. It's not a big kid. It's still a pup. It's a 9-year-old. Kids are going to be attached to both parents, but definitely mothering is a part of recovery.
Yeah.
They just seem to be like, are you not taking this into consideration? He's not an adult. This is a child who is then going to be healing after their first surgery from their mother. And I would be saying this exactly the same from their father as well. It's like, they're babies. It's not okay.
Yeah.
Either way. Yeah. I just thought it was a bit harsh.
It is harsh, but I get it. But he's played it wrong.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Well,
is that our show?
That's our show. That's our week. We will be back on Monday again at 12.
Yes. Join us.
Join us as always.
Every day, 12 p.m. We are here.
We are here indeed.
And giving you the news.
And then obviously you can catch us on our socials as well. For Evan's sake _ find us on Instagram, find us on TikTok.
Yes, join in with the conversation as well. And, you know, when we're live, you can add comments and we will read them out as well and give our opinions on whatever you put forward. Send us story ideas. That'd be great as well.
Cool. Have a wonderful weekend. We will see you on Monday. Bye.